Well, I always knew I'm the prime audience for being influenced. After watching a lot of videos by Kada Walden, I will link her channel down below and everywhere, and you know what. Turns out she has some dolls I never heard about, like Gene Marshal. I wasn't so fond about Gene, but when she unboxed a Madra, I was like, oh yes. I tried to find one for an amount I could afford because I knew I wanted to repaint her anyways. So that's her. She was okay-ish price-wise, and yeah, while I was waiting for her to come in the mail, I decided she will get one of my two defaults. My two defaults are either Gothic Lolita or Rococo, and obviously she got the Rococo treatment. But I decided as well that because Kada brought me to buy her, Kada needs a dress as well. And, yeah. I escalated a little bit from there. I wanted to give her a Rococo dress, that was what I knew at that point. And I wanted to give her the dress I made for my Rockabilly Barbie, because right from the start I always got very strong Rockabilly vibes from Kada. That was the initial plan. From there I escalated a little bit. By now the whole box arrived in America, Kada already has it, and we talked about it. She is going to make a video about it. I'm not sure when this will come out, but I am going to wait until it came out, so I will now record my part of it, what I made for her, etc. And then I will continue as soon as she posted her video and I was able to watch it. Because I'm quite... I think anxious is the right word. I'm not entirely sure if I was able to meet her expectations or her, satisfy what she craves in doll dresses. That's why I ended up making a drawing as well, because let's call it imposter syndrome. I wasn't really sure if the dresses I made were that good, and then I made a drawing, found out her husband is an artist, so yay me. Anyway, let's go over to the dresses I made for Kada. Because Kada always goes on about how well crafted the Gene Marshal clothes are, I decided to try to line this whole frickin' thing. Never ever will I do that again in doll clothes. That was so annoying. I think it turned out nicely, but obviously the dress took twice the amount of time, and no, I'm not I can't. I'm just not capable of spending that much time on one dress. Yeah. But anyway, I think this version turned out quite nice as well, so yay me. The next one I made was inspired by a vintage daytime dress I saw. I quite liked it. It originally was made with gingham. Because I didn't have gingham, I used a rose or a flower fabric. I think this turned out quite cute. Not spectacular, but it's quite nice. I paired it for the pictures with a petticoat, which originally is a Barbie skirt underneath that I made at one point. Yeah. When I put everything together, I asked Kada in a letter that I wrote to her to put a petticoat underneath, because I'm quite sure she has quite a lot of Gene petticoats. I decided not to put one in there myself. In my life I was gifted a lot of fabrics. This one was gifted to me by a former customer when I was still a hairdresser, and it was a dress their mother made in the 50s, so it's an originally 50s fabric, and I thought that was ideal for Kada. I really like it because of the color shifting, and yeah, I ended up finally making something else for me out of it, which is my Rococo dress for my Gene, so yay. This next one I wasn't completely sure about. I wasn't sure if the beading I did in red was a bit too much, but yeah, I left it on there. It's for Kada to decide. If it's too much for her, she can quite easily remove it. Yeah, but I did 2 necklaces for this one because as well I wasn't sure if the first one I made was a little bit too much. I quite like it, but yeah, just because I like it doesn't mean Kada has to like it as well. I really liked the lace and I decided to make a shawl for the dress, but I added some beads just to tie it in a bit more. And now to the one that is supposed to be the showstopper, the Rococo dress. We have the panniers, we have the underskirt, and we have the robe à la française, the sack-back gown. That goes on top of it. I'm not 100% happy with how the panniers turned out in this version, because they sometimes sag down a little bit, so you sometimes have to pull them so they stay up and protrude the dress outwards. After I sent the parcel, I made my own, and those work a bit more nicely, but they are a lot tighter as well. So Kada, let me know if you, first of all, watch this video, and second of all, want a new set of panniers that do help or support the skirt a bit more thoroughly. So besides some Barbie stuff I made and some I didn't make, some I still had that I put into the box, I decided to make a drawing as well, and I quite like how it turned out. It is a Silkstone Barbie, but made up to look like Kada. I took some pictures of her Instagram, and yeah, I'd quite like it. Now let me talk a bit about what I wanted to do with my Madra. First of all, while putting on the dresses, I did break her arm. I was able to repair it, but yeah, with that I was even less worried about destroying a collector's doll. So I removed her hair, I removed her face, and I decided to drill a hole into her head because I wanted to give her wigs. I'm quite sure I'm not going to leave her in the Rococo dress all the time. I wanted to have her, or have the options for other dresses as well. So I embedded a magnet into her head to be able to switch wigs quite easily. To then make the wig cap, I added some cling film, a layer of tulle, the magnet, another layer of tulle, and then just drenched it in glue. I made a combination. First it was tacky glue, then it was Yoo-hoo extra glue. I still didn't really find a version that I like that gets hard enough for my liking. So far they always stay a little bit soft, which is okay, but because of that they are not completely clinging to the hat. That's something I'm still not that happy about. When that was dry, I could cut off the excess, put it back on, and because I thought I need to store the spare wigs somewhere, I not only made a second wig cap, because obviously I want to make more than one wig. Second, I completely covered this poor girl in masking tape. No, not masking tape. You can see which kind of tape it is. I did that 3 times to then pour plaster in there to get some wig heads. They are not the most precise likeness, but they are good enough to store the wigs between uses. If you feel really crafty, you could sand them down as well and make them more smooth. For me, it's just I wanted something that has vaguely the shape of her head where I can put them on. Then I took the first wig cap I made, put it back onto Madra, and started gluing a lot of stuff onto it just to get a base structure. I started with the toilet paper roll that I tried to shape at least slightly into a, poof hairstyle shape. Then I covered it with grey felt just to smooth out everything. And then I had prepared some grey wefts that I stuck on top, and I used every glue I had. I used hot glue for the base layer, then after that was halfway in place, I used a spray glue, and I have to admit it worked quite nicely using the spray glue. The only issue is I used it as a top layer as well, and that makes the wig a little bit sticky. So I assume dust will cling to it. If I had at that point the Gotta Be hairspray, that is called spray glue as well, I think. At least in German it is. I think I would have preferred to add this on top. And yes, with me starting to do cosplay stuff for a friend of mine, I'm learning cosplay hair techniques. So this will stay like this forever. Anyway, so yeah. It was a process. It was interesting. It worked rather nicely, I have to say, but yeah, it was a process. And thankfully, most Rococo hairstyles have so many decorations anyway that you could just stick some decorations where you made a mistake. I tried to make the hairline a little bit more natural, but that didn't work quite as nicely. In the end, I just cut it straight again. And I made a second wig out of blonde hair. That one I did off camera. It was insanely complicated to get the part right. I'm still not sure about it, but I will show you a picture in the end after the repaint portion, which we come to now. As with so many dolls, I like Madra in the original, but I think she looks a bit mean and a bit, like most dolls, she doesn't look very kind, very soft, and I preferred to have them look very soft. I debated to do a gothic makeover again, but that wouldn't have fit that well with the Rococo dress, so I decided to give her a very soft and only slightly make-up-esque makeover. I do like where she ended up. I like her shaded face. I like the way the repaint ended up looking. But as with so many of my repaints, I noticed, or I feel I'm not as good with the details as other repainters. I like how she turned out, but compared to her original self, the original self looks a lot more clean, a lot more defined, while mine, it still does look a little bit amateur, I think. I still like it, and I'm still happy that I did repaint her, but yeah, my skills could get elevated. And because of that, I decided, with the newest editions, which you might have seen on Instagram, I bought a super-size Barbie, and lately I bought a my-size Barbie as well, which was broken. I don't think that I will do repaints on them. I assume I will keep them with their original faces. Because, yeah, I'm a bit insecure about my repaints lately. Anyway, let's just stop talking about that and let me show you how she looks with her long blonde hair. I did quite enjoy how she looked with this blonde wig on her, and yeah, I think she turned out very gentle looking. I already posted a picture of a side-by-side of her on Instagram, this one, and yeah, I enjoy her with a blonde wig. As you can already see in the pictures, I did put lashes on and glossed her, and then it was finally time to put her in her final outfit, into the Rococo dress, the version I made for me. So let's take a look at the final pictures. Let's start with a little look at all my 3 Rococo dolls I did so far. I really enjoy how Madra ended up looking. I quite like the dress. The wig could get some improvement, or yeah, it does need some improvement, but it is okay looking, in my opinion. I really enjoyed this process, and yeah, I really enjoyed doing the clothes for Kada, and by now I watched her video and I'm so honored that first of all she made a complete video out of it, and second of all, how happy she was, or she seemed. It did touch me quite a lot. So, if you like to, maybe go over to her channel and leave a like, leave a comment. And yeah, if you want to, we will see us in another video. Until then, bye!